because
hey guys, welcome to Wine Family Farm. Look who I'm watching.
So the Black Money purchase is not taking place.
That's right.
In late October.
Chris Wyatt. He will be a guest on my show. He's going to be a guest on my show on November 3rd at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you don't know who he is, go over to his channel. Check him out. Hey everybody. Today what I'm going to be doing is I have these hen saddles. And what I'm going to do is I am going to adjust them a little bit. These were supposed to be for bantam birds, but these are huge. So what I'm going to do is, if you guys haven't noticed, these are like stretchy and it's like an elastic thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull all this to one side and then I'm going to tuck it. I'm not going to cut the elastic. I'm just going to like kind of tuck it and then I'm going to sew it hand sew it in this one spot. So let's go ahead and we'll get started. I'm going to cut the end off of this thread. Just to give myself a clean start, because sometimes the end of the thread can get frayed. And I might need a light. Oh God, I'm officially old. Okay. So I grabbed another needle because that one didn't seem to be working. And this hole's bigger. I know the bigger holes are probably for leather and stuff like that, but okay, so I don't want to have it extremely long. I'm just doing this enough to make a couple stitches. I went ahead and trimmed that string, and then I'm going to tie a couple knots at the end here. So I have my knots in there. So what I'm going to do with this hen saddle is I have it pushed all the way like this, stretched it, and then I have one big spot. So what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to take it over like this to where I have a loop. I want to make sure I'm straight and everything's good here. That way, you know, it still stretches around their wings, but the loop part is hidden. So what I'm going to do, and it's probably best that I took the bigger needle because what I'm sewing into is going to be really thick. So I'm going to start from here and I'm just going to pull it through. I always used to love to hand sew, especially when I was a kid. It's my favorite. And, when I was younger and in 5th grade, I was in a presentation, did a presentation, and what I did was we made our own Indian outfits because it was an Indian presentation, Native American presentation. And so we made our own Native American outfits, which was super cool. And I had never done anything like that before. And it was a lot of fun. But the girl that I was with, she sewed her finger to her outfit. Yeah, she couldn't sew. So I'm just going to do like a couple stitches. I'm obviously going to make it tight enough to where the birds can't get it looser, you know, something like that. So, and I'm just gonna pull this through, pull it real tight, and I'm gonna do this a couple times in this one spot. Just kind of make sure that it's tight enough. And I'm also, you can also not only make sure that this is tight enough, but you can also like tear it out if you need to, because this isn't going to be a permanent thing. My real passion, and a lot of people don't know this about me, but my real passion is Victorian gowns. I love history, and so I have sewn Victorian gowns and made a Victorian jacket and pantaloons, you know, kind of that kind of stuff. I really like to sew, but it's been a long time because, you know, when you have a kid, it's not like you can just escape for a while, and so that can't happen. So it's been a long time since I've actually sewn something, but I have made some really cool stuff. And I'm just going back over this because I've sewn enough. So I'm just gonna go over it and make sure that I get it, you know, right. So that it, you know, it's tight. And like I said, eventually, like if I wanted to, I can rip this out. And I'm glad I used the thicker needle because this stuff is really thick once you get it bunched up and doubled. I'm just going to go over it a couple more times to make sure that it's stitched in there and that it doesn't go anywhere. And then I'm also going to double knot it. And see? It doesn't look very nice, but it's okay. It's just for my chickens. No big deal. And I'm 99% sure that this part will be hidden anyway, so. Pulling this through. I think I made enough space, so what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to snip this. Do not pull the needle out of the thread yet because that was a pain in the butt to get it threaded to begin with. So there we go, and I'm going to tie it off. You can do it one of many ways. You can do the loop, which right here, you can do a loop like this and pull it through, make a knot, or you can take both the strings and make a knot and do it like a couple times. What I think I'm going to do in this scenario is I'm going to tie it like a tie and just make a knot. Because I don't want this to come undone. And I'm going to do it a couple of times, just so it doesn't come undone. All right, one more time. I love to sew. It's been so long. I got a wonderful sewing machine. And I have awesome patterns. I haven't had the opportunity, and I have some actual really beautiful material sitting around that I was going to make some shirts a long time ago, and I never made them. So, okay. What I'm going to do is then, since I did that, I got 2 strings, so I'm just going to snip those off as close as I can get them, so they're not, the birds don't feel like the need to peck at them. So I made like this is probably about 1 inch. So what it's going to do then is I'm going to pull on it, and it's going to tuck right underneath there. Right underneath this part, like this. And you're not even going to be able to see it, but it's going to adjust for the bird. And that's actually working out perfect. Hen saddles are really important, and I'll tell you why. They keep the male birds from wrecking up your chickens. And so a lot of times your birds will get worn out, or, you know, the chickens will be like, not have any feathers or anything behind them and stuff like that. So there we go. And it's an obvious difference. Here's my other hen saddle that I plan on doing it to too. And see how big that is? It's supposed to stretch over their wings, but it gets too stretchy and then they'll just come right out of it. So this one, it's stretchy, but I shortened it. So it's going to work out just fine, I think, for that bird. So this one is for Henrietta, and we're going to put that on her today. Now I have this other one that I plan on doing the same thing to, because I have a couple of birds out there. Specifically, Henrietta is the one that's the worst, but I got a couple of birds out there. So I'm going to pull this through again like this, make sure I have, you know, that, and then I'm just going to fold this over again and sew this again. And I'm going to just make sure that my thread here is tied in a knot. I know I really know what it's like. Like when I was younger, I wanted to learn how to sew so badly. And my grandparents and my mom was like, I can't see the needle. You know, now I'm older, I realize that you cannot see that hole of that needle very well. That kind of stinks. I don't need that much thread for this, so it's not that much, but it's okay. I'm going to go ahead and make a knot in this. Like that. Once you learn the basics of sewing, it's pretty easy. And it actually can help you. Like you can sew reinforced stuff into people's crotches and their pants. You can do patchwork. You can sew on buttons, that kind of stuff. You don't have to be able to sew outfits. That's kind of taking it a little step further. But once you have the basics, you can do pretty much anything. And boom, 2 knots in a row. That's awesome. Usually I don't get them right in the same spot. Okay, so here's my thread. I got this pulled aside. I'm going to go ahead and fold it over. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull it through. And there we go. Oh, my knots aren't big enough. I'll do one more. That should be big enough now. Oop. But not. Now I'm going to fold it over. Make sure it's like the right direction too, because you don't want to have these twisted. So just make sure it's the right direction. And go ahead and pull it through. Feels good to me. Like I've said before, this doesn't have to be perfect because this is just going on your chickens. Now, if I was doing like an outfit or hemming my pants or something like that, then it'd be a little bit different. But I'm just doing basic sewing. Making sure everything's lined up too. That is the key. And I'm just going to pull it through. I'm having a hard time because this elastic is really super thick. For those that you don't know, I bought these hen saddles. I didn't make them myself, but I'm considering making them now. I bought these hen saddles off of Etsy. Someone made them for me. And it was right during the debacle of all the mail stuff. So it took me seriously 3 months to get these in the mail. And I needed them badly. So I was very upset. But it worked out. It wasn't the woman's fault at all. It was the mail. Because the mail at that time was not doing very well. I'm just going to pull these through and pull this through a couple times to stitch it. It's been a long time, like I said, since I've sewn anything. But once you learn, you don't forget. So, all right. I'm going to go ahead and sew this off, or cut this off, I mean. Yeah, so if you have a sewing machine, this is way better. Or, I mean, that is way better. And it would be tighter. But my sewing machine is in the attic right now, so. And then I'm just going to take these 2 threads and I'm going to tie them in a knot multiple times to make sure that it's stable. If you don't know how to sew or if you're having issues, you can always look on YouTube. YouTube offers tons of different stuff. And in fact, a while back when I was having issues with my sewing machine and the bobbin, you can find out how to wind your bobbin on there as well. So there's lots of cool tutorials and stuff like that on YouTube on how to sew. I'm going to tie this in a knot again, but you can see I have a lot of extra string and stuff left over. That's okay, because you can eventually cut that off. You just don't want to cut it off before or after your knot, because then obviously you cut your knot off, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and give it another go. If I can see, oh my gosh, seeing is the worst part. Holy crap, I never knew I was going to have this kind of issue. I feel old. There we go. Now I've tied it in a knot multiple times here. So what I'm going to do is just take my scissors and I'm just going to trim them down. I'm obviously not going to cut them off completely. And this as well. That way the birds don't mess with it, because once they see that string, they're going to go for it. Then they shouldn't be seeing it at all, because what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to push this right back through here so you can't see it at all. It's just a simple tuck. No big deal. And I'm just going to push it right back through this hole. And then stretch it out a little bit, make sure it works. and it's been tucked. And now my hens can wear a hen saddle and not have it bother them as much. Or have them take it off, because that's what they were doing because it was too loose. So, that is basically it. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you all in the next video. And that is how you stitch up extra slack in your hen saddles.